long time no see again. Normally I would apologise for not making a video in so long, but my life is a little bit crazy and has been this whole sort of past year. But never fear, I'm pre-filming some videos today. I've got lots of videos planned, and 2017 is going to be the year of BookTube for me. So I sat down today because I wanted to film a video for you, and I wasn't really sure what video to film, but then I thought I'll have a look through my Goodreads and I will talk to you guys about my favourite books of 2016. And then I was looking through my Goodreads and actually nothing really jumped out at me. So last year I had set my reading goal at 50 books because I knew, looking at my reading tallies from previous years, that I didn't want to set an unrealistic goal for myself. And I think the previous year I had set my target at 100 books and I ended up dropping it to 75 because I had had a long reading slump throughout the summer. And then I think I ended the year having read 82 books or something, so that was great. So last year I thought, oh, I'll do 100 books again. And then I soon realised that that was unrealistic, so I set it at 50, and it turns out that I didn't even read 50 books last year. I think I read 42 or something like that. There's lots of reasons for that. But yeah, I was looking through my Goodreads and I couldn't really even pick out some great books that I had read. There weren't very many that I had given more than a 3-star to. There were a couple of 5-star books, but a few of them were rereads, like Harry Potter. I think the only other books I gave 5 stars to were the Throne of Glass books, and even then I think 2 or 3 of those got a 4-star. And then The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, I gave that a 5-star, but other than that, I rated the majority of the books I read last year quite low. So because I realised that when I went through my Goodreads, I thought that instead I would talk to you about how 2016 was for me in terms of reading, and I will talk to you about my reading resolutions for this year instead, because we're in 2017. How? Also, I just want to say, excuse my weird outfit today, this huge scarf and this hoodie and everything. It's freezing cold in my house. I came home from work and it is like an iceberg in here. I've put the heating on, but we have a large lean-to or conservatory type thing on the back of the house, and it just holds cold air in the winter. In the summer it's too hot to go in there, and in the winter it's like the Arctic, so the house is cold. 2016 for me as a reading year. I feel like this is going to be a really chatty video, so I have some tea to keep me going. So when 2016 started, I was working in a job that I really hated, but ironically it was to do with books, but nothing really fun to do with books. But having said that, we used to have book sales and I could get books for really cheap, so I was accumulating quite a lot of books. And actually, to be fair to myself, I was reading quite a few books. In January I got through a handful of books, I think. And then gradually I got more and more unhappy in my job and in my life in general, to be quite honest. If you're subscribed to my other channel, which is always linked in the description, you'll know that this year's been quite tough for me, and I won't go into huge detail, but I do have Crohn's disease, and for me it's mainly triggered by stress. So I was very stressed in my job. They were making me feel very uncomfortable and very unwelcome, certain members. And I got more and more unhappy and more poorly. And you'd think that if you were spending time off work or wanting to sort of escape from your life, that you would escape into reading, but for me, generally I lose all interest in my hobbies when I'm having a hard time, and that's definitely what happened. I stopped scrapbooking, I stopped reading, and in terms of my scrapbooking, I'm so behind even now. I got so behind throughout the year of 2016 that I haven't caught up yet. So one of my crafty resolutions for this year is to catch up with 2016's documenting. But in terms of reading, I basically stopped reading altogether. I was lucky if I got through 1 or 2 books a month. And for some months throughout the summer, I would go a whole month or 2 without reading anything. And so it became really obvious to me that I wasn't going to read 50 books last year, and I made my peace with it. It was fine. I didn't mind that I didn't hit my Goodreads goal, because it was a busy year. Not only was I unhappy in my job, but I then quit my job after being signed off for 6 weeks. I quit my job, and then I moved in with my boyfriend. I got a puppy. We spent the summer with me not doing very much and not being very happy, because I was still quite ill, and then we got another dog. So if you want to learn more about that, I will leave the link to a blog post in the description below this video. I do write a blog about my dogs and about my little adventures with them, and I wrote a post recently called "Having Dogs Has Changed My Life," and that explains the whole situation in detail and how I got my 2 dogs and why. So if you want to learn more about me and maybe why I wasn't reading so much last year, then definitely go and read that post. Get a cup of tea though, because it's quite a long one. So yeah, I barely read anything last year, and then on top of that, every book I was reading was leaving me kind of unsatisfied. I wasn't really reading anything that I really enjoyed, and whilst I did read some books that I rated highly, so like the Throne of Glass series, I also read A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I think I rated a 4-star or something like that. I wasn't really reading anything that was staying with me, that was sticking in my brain, that was making me question things, until I read The Handmaid's Tale, which I think was the last book that I read, or one of the last books I read of 2016, and that really has stuck with me. That's really made me think, and I want to read more works like that in 2017, because I feel like whilst reading for pleasure is great and I really want to get back into that, I also want to read things that are going to sort of like enrich my brain and encourage me to use my brain and make me question things and make me do further research and all that sort of thing. So yeah. So yes, that was 2016 for me. It wasn't a great reading year at all, but I'm hoping 2017 will be a lot better. So that brings me on to my resolutions for 2017, and I have quite a few New Year's resolutions this year. Well, not really resolutions, but things I want to work on and get better at, but I'm just going to share with you my reading one. So I have my trusty file of facts here. My first resolution is to read 100 books, and I know that based on everything I just said, you're probably all going to be like, Chloe, you just said that reading 50 books was unrealistic and now you've set yourself the goal of 100. When I was younger, I used to devour books. I would easily read 100 books a year, if not double that. And I really want to get back into that sort of voracious reading style, frame of mind. I used to read so much. I was constantly reading, constantly had my nose in a book. And I have so many unread books that I really want to read 100. I really do. Just for 1 year as an adult, I want to read 100 books. Now that will make more sense to you once I've read the next one, which is get my TBR down to 20 books by the end of this year. This one I'm feeling like maybe I won't be able to do, but basically I had a huge book unhaul recently and I still have the books over there, so if you'd like to see an unhaul, let me know and I will film it. But I went through my shelves and I took off all the books that I really think I will never read. First books in a series that have sat there for like literally years and still haven't been read. So I decided to just clear off as many of them as possible, and then I decided to count how many unread books I had left. So when I counted how many unread books I have left, which didn't include classics because I have a large shelf up there of classics, my classics I kind of see as a collection, and I know they'll get read at some point in my life when I feel like picking them up. But my YA books and books of other genres, I decided to count how many of those I had unread, and they were, I can't even talk, there were 99 of them. So my goal of 100 books is to try and cut my TBR down to 20. Now obviously 100 minus 99 isn't 20, however I'm aware that some of these books will probably still not be read this year, and also I will most likely buy other books too, which will of course top my TBR back up. So I'm hoping to read 100 books and cut my TBR down to 20 by the end of this year. My next goal is to read War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. I have read Anna Karenina, which I really enjoyed, and I'm actually rereading it again on my Kindle, sort of as and when I have 5 minutes and I don't fancy reading something else. I'll flick through a few pages of Anna Karenina. I really enjoyed it when I read it a couple of years ago, and I was in Waterstones with my boyfriend a few weeks ago. It was a couple of days after Christmas, and they have beautiful new editions of Russian literature, War and Peace, and I just thought, do you know what? I'm gonna buy it because I think it was $11.99 or something. I'll show it to you. This is it. It is a beast, and the pages are like, you know, like in a Bible where the pages are basically like tissue paper? That's kind of what this is, but it's beautiful, and it has French flaps as well. Gorgeous. Yes, it's published by Vintage Classics, and I just knew I had to buy it. It's been a goal of mine for a long time to read War and Peace. I thought it would be something fun to try and challenge myself to do by the end of this year. I'm not intending to read it all in one go, which I'll talk about in my January TBR video. I'm planning on reading a few pages a night, and by the end of the year it will be finished. If I get really into it and I want to carry on reading it as my main book that I'm reading at that time, then great, but if I don't, then I don't have to. So yes, read War and Peace. That is my next goal. My next reading goal for this year, which is kind of a life goal, not just reading, but I want to make this book channel a priority. I don't always comment, but I watch as many booktube videos as I possibly can, and yet I don't make the effort to make my own. So this year I want to make this channel a priority. I want to make filming for this channel a priority. I have an Instagram account that goes alongside this channel, which I'll leave in the description below as well. It's always there, all my links are always there. And I really want to make that a priority too, and get properly involved in the community. This is such a kind, warm, welcoming community, and I want to fully immerse myself and get properly involved. So I'm aiming for 1 video a week for this channel, but even if it's less than that, even if I just make sure that there are videos up here regularly, that's good enough for me. So to that end, if you could let me know any of your favourite tags or any sort of videos you would like to see on this channel, please do let me know, because I don't always know what to upload. But of course I'm hoping to do the general TBR and wrap-up videos, reviews, like I said, tags, things like that. There probably won't be as many hauls because of my next goal, but if I do buy books, then I will of course share them with you. My final bookish goal, well, there's one more that I'd like to do, but this is my sort of main set in stone final goal, is to not buy new books until I have read 10 books off my TBR. So I feel like this is probably completely not gonna work, but I would really like to read 10 books before I buy any new ones. It's just to try and help keep my TBR down, and also to try and stop me spending money I don't have, because I work part-time now, so I don't have the money I used to have to spend on books, and I just don't have the money to splash out on books here, there and everywhere like I used to. So that's my sort of final set in stone goal. I would really like to read 10 books before I buy any more. And then the last goal that I would like to do, but it's not one that I've written down, is I would like to read at least 1 classic every month. As I mentioned before, I have a large collection of classics, which I haven't counted in my TBR because I just see them as sort of a life investment, and at any point throughout my life, if I want to read them, they will be there. But I do want to start working my way through some of them, so I want to try and read at least 1 classic every month, and hopefully I'll have read at least 12 classics by the end of the year. So yes, that is everything. Those are my reading goals for 2017. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Bye!